Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of God of War Ragnarök Valhalla DLC. I played on the PS5, it's also available on the PS4 because it's still a PlayStation exclusive. So let's get into the story. You play as Kratos and you have Mimir accompanying you. The two of you are venturing into Valhalla without the permission of anyone who could give you permission to go to Valhalla, because you received an invitation from an unknown party. What you learn though is that in Valhalla you can live, die, repeat, and Valhalla shows you your inner thoughts and helps you kind of work through things. Or at least this area of Valhalla. It's not the main area of Valhalla in this universe. And I gotta say, I love the fact that they did that with this DLC. They didn't necessarily have to put story into it, but they did put some fantastic story and character growth into it. Especially once you find out why Kratos is there. You then get to explore his memories from Greece. You find items that trigger memories and conversations between him and Mimir. As well as you eventually get to get some story and some background into some of the Valkyries. I think that added story really added a lot to this DLC. I don't know how else to put that. But then let's get onto the audio, and the first thing I'm going to say is the voiceover work is, of course, phenomenal. I don't know what else to expect from that. They make such high-quality products, it's kind of easy to assume that it would be phenomenal, and it is. Then when you get to the music, it's got new music, and the music is great. Which, again, not surprising. But then let's get into the sound effects, and the sound effects are awesome as well. That's not really a surprising thing since everything else was fantastic. But let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is a third-person action roguelite. The gameplay really does work like you would expect from God of War. You have your weapons, you have your attacks, etc. But what's different is that you go into each of these little arenas and you beat the enemies. Most of them don't have any unique conditions, but then you go into the next area, and if you die, you restart. And they do an awesome job tying that into the story, which I just always love when they do a great job tying all the stuff together. But like any good roguelite, you basically get your choice of chests in this game, and with those choices, you upgrade your weapons, your abilities, your stats, etc. And of course, all the upgrades and whatnot that you get from the chests while you're in Valhalla, those get wiped out when you die, and you get new sets when you go through the next run. But you earn a currency throughout that allows you to permanently upgrade your health, your rage, your other stats, as well as just unlock other things like extra chests, cosmetics, things like that. And the goal is, of course, the more you upgrade, the easier it is to get further and further into the story and beat the bosses until you reach the end, and then it actually repeats again because you have to go through multiple times to complete the story, and I loved that. They did it so well, and they brought it all together. Now, I played on the medium difficulty, and it started out a challenge, but I did eventually reach a point where I was just wrecking face, which, you know, sounds kind of like it defeats the point of a roguelite, but at the same time, I really loved it. Because by that time, I had completed the main story, but there was still other stuff that I wanted to learn and other memories to explore. And so being as OP as I was allowed me to beat the things more easily so that I could really just focus on the story and exploring those memories. And it is awesome. There's a wide variety. You get so many different abilities, and you can only pick like 2 of the runic attacks for each thing, and you can't really switch between them. You're kind of locked to those. And that's for each weapon, but you can get all the runic attacks for each weapon. Then there's all sorts of challenges to complete, going through all the different types of doors, because the different types of doors will lead to different upgrades, and you know more or less what you're getting into, but it'll be a random upgrade. You go to the weapon door, it will be a weapon upgrade, but you don't know which weapon, what kind of upgrade, etc. But basically, it's a God of War roguelite, and it's exactly what it sounds like from a gameplay standpoint. They merged the two, and they did it very well. Let's get into the controls, and it's the same controls as God of War Ragnarok, and they work just as well, so there's really nothing to address there. They're fantastic. And then we'll get into the graphics and visuals, and, you know, it's God of War Ragnarok. It's not like it suffered a huge visual downgrade. It's still a gorgeous game. The amount of detail in each of the different areas of Valhalla, which are based on the different areas you've been to in Ragnarok, and then they even start pulling from Kratos' history, which is really cool when they do that. But it goes beyond that. You get to see all the different runic attacks, all the different abilities. They just do such a great job with all the different effects, all the different creatures, all the animations. It's fantastic. But then you can also, customize your armor. While you really can't upgrade your armor necessarily, you can choose different sets of armor, and there's a ton of them, and some of them I just fell in love with and used pretty much incessantly once I unlocked them. But you can unlock even more as you play through, so I just love the amount of customization to your Kratos that you can do in it, and it just works with what they've built previously, and like I said, it's gorgeous. All the elements are gorgeous, all the different creatures you run into look fantastic, the worlds, all of it, just beautiful. There's not a ton to say about it graphically because, it's just more God of War Ragnarok, which was gorgeous to begin with. So let's get into the wrap up. Another fairly short video because it's a DLC, but I gotta say, 100% worth playing. I should say you can up the difficulty to make it obviously more challenging, which I kind of forgot to mention earlier, but that obviously adds even more replayability to an already awesome DLC. If you couldn't tell by now, I fully recommend this, just 100%, totally worth it. Had so much fun with this. Okay, in the comments down below, why don't you tell me, have you played God of War Ragnarok, and if not, why? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.